Today, we're unpacking Unit 48, Talking. We're going to map out the specific rules that solve these mysteries, so you can communicate with total confidence. No more second-guessing yourself every time you open your mouth. So here is our roadmap for today. First, the rules for say. Second, when to use tell. Third, using ask for questions and favors. And finally, we'll look at speak, talk, answer, and reply. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the rules for say. The golden rule here is that say is our go-to verb for quoting or reporting what was literally vocalized. When you're relaying a message or an exact quote, say is your best friend. For example, she said, "This is horrible," or he said that he wanted a drink. Notice how the focus is entirely on the words that physically came out of the person's mouth, rather than who they were actually speaking to. And think about when you're trying to translate something, we always use say when we ask about language itself. The exact phrasing you want is, how do you say book in Spanish? You would literally never use tell or speak in this context. It's just a set, fixed phrase tied to the specific words of a language. It's not just quotes either. Think about your daily social interactions. You say hello, you say goodbye, you say please, and thank you. Notice a pattern here? These are all standard fixed greetings or social pleasantries. So remember, you don't tell someone happy birthday, you say it. The same whole shebang goes for Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and congratulations. These expressions are always paired with say. Okay, moving right along to Section 2, when to use tell, which completely changes the grammatical rules. Now, the absolute core differentiator between the two is surprisingly simple. You must immediately follow the word tell with the person receiving the information. You say, tell me, or tell him. On the flip side, say is not followed immediately by a person. You wouldn't say me. That just sounds wrong, right? The verb tell is all about the actual transfer of information from one person to another. So grammatically, it demands that the receiver is standing right next to the verb. This is a super common trap learners fall into, forgetting to put the person right after the word tell. For instance, saying, he said me his name, is completely grammatically incorrect. Because me is receiving the info, it absolutely must be, he told me his name. Same with asking for directions. Can you say me where it is a very frequent error. Because you're asking someone to give information directly to you, it has to be, can you tell me where it is? We also use tell all the time with your classic WH words like when, what, why, where, and how to find out or give specific info. For example, tell me when you want to have dinner, or she told me how to fill in the application form. It's incredibly practical. Whenever you're navigating instructions, directions, or factual details with another person, tell combined with these question words is exactly the structure you need. And just like say has its fixed phrases, tell has its own dedicated expressions. If you memorize this little cluster, you'll always naturally know to tell a joke instead of saying it. You tell the time, you tell a story, and you tell someone your name, your address, or your phone number. These are all packaged bits of information that you're transferring to an audience, which is exactly why they belong to the tell family. All right, let's jump into our third bucket, ask for questions and favors. Naturally, ask is your go-to for questions, whether you're reporting them or directly requesting to pose one to somebody else. For instance, if you're reporting a question someone else asked you in the past, you'd say, my sister asked me where I was going. Or if you're in the moment and need to inquire about something, you use the classic opener, can I ask you a question? It's straightforward, but incredibly versatile. But hey, ask isn't just for gathering facts. It's also the verb we use for requesting actions or objects. So beyond just questions, you can ask for the time or the way, ask someone to do something, or ask for a physical item. If you want an action, you use ask to, like, I asked him to turn off his radio. But if you want an object, you use ask for. She asked for the bill. This subtle little difference between asking to do and asking for a thing is a brilliant tool to keep in your conversational toolkit. And finally, let's wrap up with Section 4, speak, talk, answer, and reply. Okay, if you take away only one thing from this whole section, let it be this. You never talk a language. You would literally never say, do you talk Japanese? The correct usage is always, do you speak Japanese? However, you use talk when you're describing the actual act of having a conversation. I like talking to you. It implies a back and forth dialogue, whereas speak in this context is really just about the physical capability of using a specific language. And check out this crucial difference between answer and reply. While you can answer the door, answer the phone, answer a question, or answer an email, reply is a bit more restricted. You can reply to an email, a letter, or a text message, but you can never, under any circumstances, reply to the door. Answering the door means you're reacting to the bell to see who's there. Replying actually requires a message to respond to. So while they totally overlap with emails, they are completely different beasts when you're standing in your hallway.
So think about that little rule as we finish up here. You can't reply to a door, but you can definitely answer it. By breaking down these specific categories, when to report with say, when to direct information with tell, and the distinct rules for asking, speaking, talking, answering, and replying, you now have a really solid framework. So the next time your phone rings or your inbox chimes, ask yourself, are you going to answer it or reply to it? I really hope this explainer gives you the confidence to get out there and communicate with perfect precision.